demonstration of the Ansible SDK. I'm going to take you through a quick sample of where we are with this. I am using Visual Code, as you can see here. This is where we're going to be. It's going to be pretty nerdy, so bear with me. Okay, so here's a Python bit of code here. This is actually shipped in the Git repo for the Ansible SDK. It's called example subprocess job.py. I've modified the base of this now to make it more interesting for this demonstration, but in essence you need to import the async IO library, and you need to import the Ansible SDK libraries, and then you also have a dependency against Ansible Runner needing to be installed, and you may or may not have a dependency against Receptor. We'll get into that in another session. But so there are a few dependencies that are required to be met to make this run. My system's obviously all working. Next line in this Python code, which is important, is this one. You can see here it's basically passing off to the job the data dir and the name of the playbook that we want to execute. So the data dir, remember, we're not trying to rewrite controller here. This is Ansible SDK, so all of the things that controller does lovely for you, you have to do now yourself. So we have to create a data dir, and in that data dir we need to put an inventory file. So here's my inventory file. It's got one host in it and some other settings. And then we've got a project folder, and I've got my playbook that I wish to execute, which is weather.yaml. So all of my funky automation code is in YAML, it's in Ansible, it's here, and that's where all the value is. Going back to the Python file, so this is my app. My app is going to execute some Ansible, and then it's going to be able to transact that Ansible and do stuff with it. Really, the value here is that we're not having to be automation experts within inside of our Python code. We can allow Ansible to be the automation experts, have leverage its whole ecosystem of partners and integration points, whether that's storage, networking, cloud, infrastructure. All of those different integration points that you get through collections are available to us. We don't have to put that in Python code anymore. So my Python code's defined the project. The weather.yaml is going to be what we execute. We then process the standard out and throw it to the screen. So why don't we just give this a run and see what happens. Boom, 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 and there it is. It's all finished, right? So there's a load of output here. If you care to look carefully, you'll see some of the module setup, the hardware inventory being returned. I did see earlier on something about MacBook Pro, which is what I've got running here. Plus all the stats about so there's all the hardware detail here. And then the stats about the event itself, the stream of the job being returned back, and then obviously the standard out, which is the bit which I like. So that's the playbook. So it turns around and says that there's no clouds outdoors and it's a clear sky. I look out my window and it really is. There's that weather.yaml that was being executed. It's going off to openweathermap.org to go and get this data. So yeah, I can now switch, for instance, weather providers very quickly and easily by having another playbook that does this same thing. So today I'm using openweathermap.org. Tomorrow I could be using BBC weather, and as long as it returns what the app is wanting to play with, certain variables in the standard out, then my app doesn't have to have the intelligence about the automation. My app can be busy coded for the use case of the weather rather than actually having to get the weather. Ansible does that far better for us. So I think that concludes the demo. Next time we'll show you some examples using cloud and maybe some storage providers where we can switch between those.